The African Development Bank has outlined its strategy for the next 10 years during the celebration of 60 years of its existence held at the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. While speaking on the bank's long-term plans, the Afdb president said they are yet to achieve their targeted goals. The theme for this year's meeting, Africa's Transformation, the African Development Bank Group, and the reform of the global financial architecture. Let's have more details of that in this report.
As leaders gather in Nairobi for the Afdb's 60th anniversary, all eyes are on its strategy for the next decade. President of the bank, Akiwumi Adesina, says in the next 10 years, the bank's aim is to build the high fives. Priorities between 2013 and 2022 to light up and power Africa.
Need to be high fives. We will get there because even the United Nations Development Program agreed that if Africa were to run those high fives, Africa will achieve 90% of the Sustainable Development Goals, and Africa will also achieve 90% of the Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want of the African Union.
Also topping the agenda is reform. Leaders are looking to challenge the global architecture of the financial system. They're looking for one that better supports Africa's development needs.
Africa wasn't there. Global financial architecture systems were being developed, and therefore the Bretton Woods systems were without Africa. And that's been the rule ever since then. One of the big things that Africa is asking about is Africa needs more voice, and Africa needs participation at the table that has platforms that affect its development globally.
But perhaps one of the most pressing questions for African leaders is how to mobilize the resources for ambitious projects in areas such as green growth and stimulate cooperation within the continent that would enable African nations to access funding appropriate to their needs. It is clear that this year is not just about the Afdb's progress so far. The African Development Bank is advocating for a renewed partnership with governments, the private sector and institutions like the World Bank. Relationships in which Africa is better represented.